Well then, hello Snow Angels, this will be the new character adjustments here for Season 38, which will be released at the end of Season 37. There's going to be 4 survivors in total alongside with 1 hunter, but of course, there will be a lot of side-by-side comparisons in this video because it consists of Ench, Archer, Faro Lady, and Meteorologist from the survivor side, so this might be a little bit longer than you think it would be. However, there's a few things that I will also have to note as well for side-by-side comparison. When you see the video, you're going to see me tapping in towards teleport to target quite a lot for Enchantress. This is simply because of the fact that Ench's curse stack charges faster the closer she is towards the hunter as well. So for the side-by-side comparison, you might see this screen popping up from time to time. That's just because I'm trying to, make this as precise as possible. But let's move on towards the video then, shall we? Okay, first and foremost, we're going to look at Enchantress, as you can see in the screen and inside the video as well. Ench initially starts with 1 curse stack, right? So instead of 0 curse stack, she starts with 1 curse stack. Very similar to Novelist buff when he starts with one storybook instead of none. Right? But also at the same time, there is even more to this. Because of the fact that Enchantress starts with a curse stack, her accumulation speed is currently decreased by 25%. So just let me go towards this palette, not this cipher real quick and get rid of the crow, but we're gonna have a side-by-side comparison right now with timer by the way, just to show you the side-by-side comparison. But we're gonna do it. Okay, the next part of Ench's buff is going to be pretty interesting. So the maximum reduction time of guard accumulation speed for an additional guard stack is now lowered from 77 to 66%, and the initial guard stack no longer reduces accumulation speed by 11%. I think this simply just means that after you've gotten your first stack, the next stack does not apply an 11% reduction on accumulation speed, or this might just be referring to the very first stack as well, but we don't really know. However, for this side-by-side comparison, what we're going to do is we're going to try and get maybe 10 curse stacks on the Enchantress, and of course we're just going to keep stunning the Naiad as much as possible, but of course there will be a side-by-side comparison for that right now. Okay. Nine. Okay, as you can see there during the side-by-side comparison, I don't know which one's slower, which one's faster, just gonna have to see it through the recording. But you know what, the next part of Enchantress buff right now is if she gets healed by a survivor and if the survivor gets hit, the survivor can give a total of only 3 stacks of curses for the Enchantress to use. However, this has been buffed for dual hunters where they can use 5 now in dual hunters. And of course, for the very last buff of Enchantress right now, Ench can actually use her stacks on hunters regardless of whether it's the same hunter or not. This also applies for Dream Witch's followers. So what do I mean by this? For example, right now I'm going to use the main follower and I'm going to gain curse stacks here, right? You can see my leech is pretty far away on the other side. So if I just stand here, I should be able to stun this leech, and I'm only getting the stun from this leech. So we'll just stun her once. There we go, that's a stun. Now I'm gonna get Dream Witch to not control it anymore. But as you can see here, if we move towards our own leech, you can also stun your own leech too, right? So if I just use my leech follower 1, I can also stun my own leech too, and this also works the same for dual hunters. So the TLDR of this right now is Ench now counters Dream Witch. Ench is really good in dual hunters. That's the TLDR, and that's all there is for Enchantress's recent buff or optimization, however you wish to see it. Okay, next is going to be Archer. So Archer basically got 2 nerfs for herself, and I would say it is quite detrimental nerfs, but let's look at the first one for now. The first one is actually Archer's bow and arrow. So basically this cooldown duration has been increased from 12 seconds to 14 seconds, as you can see on the bottom left hand side of your screen, or I probably have magnified that as well. But the most detrimental part of this one is now when Archer is near the hunter, and if there's another survivor within the range of 18 meters, the rate of which the laceration damage decreases while the hunter is stationary is increased by 35%. We're going to do a side-by-side comparison here as well. Because so what we're going to do here, we're going to shoot the bow and arrow, but we're not going to aim for the heart. And then we're just going to see how fast it actually goes down in a nutshell with this 35% increase. Okay, now then, next will be Faro Lady. So Faro Lady got quite a lot of buffs. As you can see, I'm playing Geisha right now, but we'll switch towards the survivor side very soon. So what is Faro Lady's first buff? The very first buff of Faro Lady, I'm going to turn the volume up really high for this one as well, is Faro Lady now does not reveal her footstep sounds when she is in cloak form. Because before, you can hear her footsteps in cloak form and her breathing, but now none of those can be heard anymore. Okay, so the next part of Faro Lady's buff right now is when she goes down, the cooldown of the cloak will actually still be in cooldown when she basically gets on the ground. But this cooldown is only paused when she's on the chair. So as we can see here on the top right side of our screen, the cloak is still in cooldown. As you can see, it's on 26% cooldown. If we get ballooned, it's still within cooldown. However, the moment we get chaired here, that is only when the cooldown has actually ended. Right, so as you can see there, my cooldown is now at 16 seconds right after we've chaired ourselves. So this is a very nice buff here for Faro Lady. Okay, so for Faro Lady's next buff, when she steals a cipher machine that no one is decoding, instead of reducing it by 1% per second, it is now 0.7% per second. As you can see here, we have a cipher machine at Big Bull, And it's just 10% as well. We'll do a side-by-side comparison here and see how much Cypher Machine decoding progress between the two, or how long basically can you keep stealing until it actually stops. So just gonna select it and let's see the side-by-side comparison. Okay, now then, so for the very last buff of Faro Lady, when her cloak is in cooldown, if you use your cane, I tried to use the first word, but I can't. If you use your cane, the cooldown will be reduced by 10 seconds. As you can see, it's currently at 33-second cooldown. I use my cane. It is now at 22-second cooldown. I use my cane again. It is now at 13-second cooldown. So for each cane you use, it reduces the cooldown by 10 seconds, which is honestly speaking really good. This works really well, especially when you want to do this. Do you see that? Do you see that? Do you see how cool that was? Did you see how cool that was? I'm gonna drop down this palette. You can vault over. You can see my cane is on 22-second cooldown. I'm gonna use my cane by 1. As you can see right now, my cane is on around 11/10-second cooldown. Oh, the hunter's chasing after you. It's a Woo. He wants to chase after him. I use my cane. I'm immediately in invisible form and I just stand still. And Woo thinks I'm running a straight line, but I'm not. I'm not. Okay, so for the very last survivor, it will be Meteorologist. Meteorologist overall got really big nerfs. What are these nerfs? We'll look through them one by one. The nerf basically is gale control duration when pushing the hunter into obstacles is now affected by Rage, Desperify, Addiction, and Peddler's Metal Affinity. So this just means I have triple stacks of Rage right now. I'm gonna get my Opera Singer here to actually stand at the wall. And if I press F and I want to use my wind and I want to get as much wind as possible, this is what we're going to do right now. As you can see, that's a small wind. Oopsies. How do I do big wind again? I think it's a lot of this. Ah, yes, that's big wind. So I've 25% rage stacks, triple rage stacks here right now. How long does she get pushed in towards the wall? Honestly speaking, it looks like a really long time. It definitely does look like a really long time. But let's try this out with Addiction. Okay, now then, our Opera Singer now has Addiction alongside with Rage. So this is around maybe 35% reduction on the pushback. Let's just see how fast she recovers. Honestly speaking, as you can see there with Addiction, that is pretty fast. And we even consumed a full bottle as well. This is max scale too. Let's try one more time. Yeah, honestly speaking, that's really fast. So, this only affects if she's pushed towards the obstacles, by the way. But like, if it's you know, open area, I don't think it really changes much. I am just going to reduce my cooldown for my items real quick, and let's just see here. So if I just press F and I make a really big gale, if we push Opera here, she should be pushed back really far, so it doesn't really get affected. Oh no, it does get affected really by Addiction too. That was such a short pushback. But here it says if you push it towards an obstacle, I guess it's mistranslation. Oh, I guess it's mistranslation. Because it says pushing into obstacles. But I guess, you know what? If it works, then it works. The next two nerfs here will actually be her ability consumption nerf. So the first one is Stratus. Stratus is basically her clouds, right? So before, her clouds consumption was 44 to 57%. Now her clouds is actually 60%, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it says it here, it is 50 to 60%. So they've actually increased the consumptibility by 6% overall minimum, and they increased the cap by 3%. So that's the unfortunate part for these clouds. So it just means that you can only use these 2 times in the full map. But if we just refresh our cooldown here once again, when you use your rainfall from now on, regardless of how strong the rainfall is, it will always be a 50% consumption. So if we just throw this rainfall down, as you can see, it's a 50% consumption. Before, it was 40% consumption, but now it's been increased to 50% consumption. A little bit unfortunate, but I guess for Meteorologist, that's kind of why she's being used quite a lot in tourneys right now. However, that's going to be end of survivors. Let's look at the hunters right now. Okay, we're going to look at Naiad. Naiad is the only one hunter that has gotten an adjustment for Season 38. They've basically buffed Naiad. So what is Naiad's buff? Basically for Naiad's buff, when she makes a big pull and the survivor is within it, the TLDR, what is the TLDR? The TLDR is, instead of it being 30%, it'll be 35%. So if we just get in towards the Meteorologist here, make a circle, You can see it's an immediate 35% stack on towards the survivors, which is a really good sign for Naiad. It's a 5% buff, but it's better than nothing. Okay, so for the next part of Naiad's buff, Naiad actually got a really nice buff from the side of her harpoon. Her harpoon retrieval time when at max presence has now been significantly reduced. This just means that when you throw your harpoon out and when you pull it back, if you're at max presence, this is now a faster animation time. We're gonna show it to you right now when before your max presence. So this is the speed as of now. So if we pull it back, this is how fast the speed is. However, now if we increase our presence, we are now max presence. For max presence, if you throw a harpoon out and if you want to retrieve it, this should be faster. As you can see, you do see a really fast harpoon retrieval on the Naiad, but do note that this is only for max presence Naiad. But Naiad did get a mini nerf, but it's basically just her basement camp. So what is Naiad's mini nerf? The TLDR of Naiad's mini nerf is when there's a survivor in basement, or when you're in basement, or if there's a pull in basement, the stack time is now 6% per second. Instead of, I think, 9% is what it was previously before, but there'll be a side-by-side comparison just to showcase you the difference between the speed. And that's going to be the end of Season 38 adjustment video. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Do let me know how you feel about the recent buffs and nerfs for the newest survivors. Well, not for newest survivors, the recent survivors and recent hunters. But what I do like about this one really is the Naiad buff, especially max presence 2 when you're able to pull back that harpoon ASAP. That's it from me for today. Thank you Snow Angels for watching today. We'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye for now.